Buddy, welcome back. We're going to be doing some ball drop drills to start the modality. Here in my hand is a racquetball. We'll be using a maximum of 2 of these. A tennis ball can also suffice. Let's pretend this cone here is my partner. I will be facing away from the partner. My knees will be apart and slightly bent, with about shoulder width apart. They will give an auditory symbol, such as go, and you'll run and try to catch the ball before it bounces on the floor twice. We will do 10 repetitions per set. Begin now. This is great for hand-eye coordination and speed. Focus on the external stimuli, as this will be your cue to go. Keep it up, we're nearly finished. Awesome work, everybody. That's the last of that set. Let's move on to the next. Alright, for our next set, we are going to be doing the same type of drill, simply with a shorter distance. This will allow for us to focus more on turning. Begin now. Here, focus on the quick turn. That's what we're working in this set. Awesome work, everybody. This concludes our second set. Let's move on to the last one. The last set, my partner will be holding 2 balls. Upon shouting go, she'll drop one of the balls and I will need to respond accordingly. Begin now. Focus here is the response to multiple stimuli. We're nearly finished with the set. Awesome work. This completes this set of exercises. Let's move on to the next set. Here we will begin the easiest of the exercises, a tossing ball vertically. We will toss the ball up and catch with the same hand, alright? Begin now. Try tossing the ball vertically upwards. Try to allow it for to have as little deviation as possible. This is okay if you're not the best aim or the best toss. I'm not the best either. But with that said, the main goal is catching the ball and responding with it overhead. And switch to the other hand. While not the quickest of drills, this is great for hand-eye coordination and can be translated great for any kind of sports, especially catching for baseball. While we are doing this low-impact set, remember, have water nearby and be ready to pause the video if need be for any rest. We're moving at our own paces, and you're moving at your own pace. Pause if needed be, get a sip of water, do whatever you need. This is your journey. Well done, everybody. This concludes our first set. Let's move on to the next, where we'll be catching the ball with both hands. Allow yourself to have comfortable posture and stand at a decent height. If needed be, you can bend your knees. Alright, begin now. We will be doing this for 90 seconds. This set is great for those with a not so keen hand-eye coordination. Over time, we can transition from two hands to one hand or even alternating hands. Right now, we're just focusing on getting the ball caught. Benefits to this set is improving your hand-eye coordination, improving the response time you have with that coordination, and will work the muscles in the hand and forearms mainly. Well done, well done. Let's move on to our final set in this modality. Here we will be doing some tossing the ball with alternating hands. We'll toss with one hand, catch with the other. Begin now. Just like in the previous sets, try to avoid throwing the ball anywhere horizontally. We're aiming for a vertical one. It's okay if it deviates slightly because that can work on the hand-eye coordination, but for now we're focusing on catching overhead, rather than lunging and moving aside to get the ball. Now switch hands. For our last two modalities, we will be incorporating some cardio, so be sure to have that water nearby. Alright everybody, this completes our fourth modality. Now to move on to the fifth. Closed agility drills with cones. For our first set of exercises, we are going to be doing a Z drill, where we will make a Z shape by shifting from left to diagonal to left again. Here we have it in real form. I did 5 by 10 feet. We'll begin now. Touch the cone in front of you before shuffling to the next cone. Do fourth until we have that Z formation. Your body must should be kept at a constant low height. And emphasize pushing the ground away, as the coach can look at the shank of your leg to ensure that you are going in the correct direction. We are not focusing on speed necessarily, but rather the agility of turning. Over time you will be able to speed up, but for now let that be a gradual process, focusing mainly on just those turns. Good work everybody! This concludes the first set in this modality. Let's move on to the second. For our second set, we're going to do something a little more challenging by running in reverse. This will require us to backpedal when doing that diagonal section. Begin now. As you can see, you have to backpedal and sort of rely on your other senses or having to look back in order to see where you are. This is a great way to take a common exercise and flip it on its head, forcing the athlete to respond to this in a slightly different format that they're used to. Alright, this concludes our second set. Let's move on to the third, where we will be using a wider space. I modified the cones to be about 10 from 15 feet apart. Not exactly the same dimensions as the original Z drill, but still a challenge. Begin now. That will not only challenge you in your agility, it will also challenge you in how your deceleration and acceleration work. Specifically in that diagonal line, you'll need to accelerate and decelerate. So this is a great way to combine those two sections into one. This last Z drill will conclude the end of this set, then we'll move on to the next. Next up we have the 5-10-5 drill. We will start in the middle cone, run 5 feet to the left, run 10 feet to the right, and stop back in the middle. Here it is in the real example. I did about 10 feet total with 5 feet in between each cone. We will shift from side to side, starting now. We will do this for 5 reps. With the knees bent and feet shoulder width apart, shuffle from left to right, going 5 feet, 10 feet, and then 5 feet. Tap each cone as you pass them. Well done, everybody. This concludes our first set. Let's move on to the next. Here, we will change our position of the body so that way we run forward and backwards. Start at the middle of the cone with your knees bent and feet wide apart. Begin now. This variation will allow for us to run forward and back pedal, focusing on our acceleration and deceleration, while still keeping that agility that we're focusing on for this set. Awesome job! Let's move on to our final set in this modality. Our final set in this modality will take those directions and put them to the test. We'll be doing multiple rotations. Start here, and we'll rotate from left to right, alright? Begin now. With each set, allow yourself to rotate forward and then rotate back around. This will fully promote our change in direction and our agility. We're nearly finished with this modality. Good work, everybody. This last set will finish our modality. Let's move on to modality 6. The first set in our last modality will be with a Y drill. You will start at the base of a cone. 5 feet ahead will be another cone, and your coach will be past that, with 5 additional cones to the left and right. Here we have it in the real setting. With our knees bent and feet apart, we will sprint over to our coach, who will direct us by pointing us in the direction we need to go. Begin. The difference between an open and closed cone drill is that an open drill requires an external stimuli to respond to. In the case here, my partner is pointing me in the direction that I need to go so I can respond. In a closed drill, you don't need that external stimulus. You can operate on your own. Awesome work. Let's move on to our second set where we will respond to an opposite stimulus. In this case, the partner will point in a direction and I will move in the opposite direction. Begin now. Sometimes that external stimulus will be a negative one and you need to respond away from it. By doing the opposite direction, we can prepare for both direct with the first set and indirect with the second. Well done, this completes our second set. Let's move on to the third, where we will have an auditory stimulus. Center yourself back to normal, with your knees bent slightly and your feet across, just as we did for the last two. Begin now. Auditory cues are helpful in responding in a different method, because not always will be visual. Good job, everyone. Let's move on to our last set of exercises for this modality. For this, we will do a full body star drill, running from each cone with 5 feet in between, preferably clockwise. Your coach or partner will send you a direction, whether that be via a compass or via a clock. In the case that we did here, we chose to use times, but again, you can use a compass type method. Begin now. Shuffle or run to the cone respective to what has been called, and then proceed counterclockwise. You should remain in the same direction the entire time. Awesome work. This concludes our first set. Let's move on to the next set. Our next set will involve turning in multiple directions. Begin now. By using multiple turns, this will allow for us to practice that agility, acceleration, and deceleration all in one go. Keep the focus on that change in direction, pivoting in the best way that you can in order to save time and move effectively. Awesome work, everybody. For our last set, we're going to position the box slightly differently in a more traditional box sense. We will have upper left, upper right, back left, and back right. Let's see how that looks now. All right, begin now. Diagonal directions will challenge us to respond in a complex movement. These past few exercises have been very beneficial towards multiple muscles in the body, including our abductors, our adductors, our hamstrings, quads, and our calves. Alright, good job everybody! This concludes the last of our exercises that we are going to be doing today. Let's move on to our cool down. Good job! Amazing job everybody! Let's move straight into our cool down by doing some straight arms behind the back for about 30 seconds, alright? We will begin now. I want to commend you. You've made it through the entire 2 videos, and I'm so proud. However far in the journey you are, whether that be beginner, advanced, or an expert, good job. Alright, let's transition to our next stretch, putting our arms above over our head, also known as a pillar stretch, for 30 seconds. Alright, let's transition to our behind the neck stretch for 1 minute, 30 seconds per arm. Now switch arms. Now we will cross our arms in front of our chest for 1 minute, 30 seconds per arm. And switch to the other arm. Now we will do some forward lunges with a side stretch for 1 minute, 30 seconds per side. Now switch to the other side. Now we will do a Sphinx stretch for 30 seconds. Now we will do a butterfly stretch for 30 seconds. Now we will do a seated toe touch for 30 seconds. Now we will do some semi-leg straddles, also known as a figure 4, for 1 minute, 30 seconds per leg. And switch to the other leg. Now we will do a seated lean back for 30 seconds. Now we will do some spinal twists for 1 minute, 30 seconds on each side. Alright, now switch to the opposing side. Bend that leg, bring it over to the other, and place that elbow right along that up knee. Now let's switch over to do some side twists. To do this, start by laying on the floor. Then bring one leg over the other. We'll do this for 1 minute, 30 seconds on each leg. And switch to the opposing leg. Now transition to the final stretch of the day, so a supine knee flex. Bring that knee right up and hold for 1 minute, 30 seconds on each side. And switch to the other leg. And this concludes our workout. Awesome job, everybody. We finally made it through. You have completed the full set. I'm so proud of you, whether you be beginner or expert. Each jump for goals is our own journey. I'm so proud. Make sure to drink lots of water, get lots of rest, eat some good food, and I'll see you next time, alright? Again, props to you. We couldn't have done it without you. Till next time.